Super Mario Galaxy 1 and 2 have been released on the Nintendo Switch, and ooh, it's gotten messy. To say that these games' release have caused a little controversy online would be an understatement. I have seen overwhelmingly negative press about these two games for one specific reason: the pricing. But before we get into all that, consider giving this video a like if you end up liking it, and consider subscribing as well. I didn't buy Galaxy 1, I just bought Galaxy 2 separately on the eShop for $40. You can buy each of these games separately for $40 on the eShop, or you could buy them physically together in a bundle for $70. And a lot of people are very upset about this. Now, I'm somebody who owns 3D All-Stars, so I did not buy Galaxy 1. I've seen a lot of people actually didn't buy Galaxy 1, but instead bought Galaxy 2. And I've only been playing this on the Switch 2, so my thoughts are only in regards to that system, not on the Switch 1. When this first got announced at the Nintendo Direct for Mario's 40th anniversary, I was pretty excited. I'm a big fan of these two games. They're definitely not my favorite Mario games or even my favorite 3D Mario games, but there's no doubt that they're great games. And I was thrilled, and at first glance, I was actually pretty surprised in a positive way that they were selling them together for $70. I know that might sound crazy. From the whole generation of the Nintendo Switch, from the very beginning all the way up to where we are now, we've seen Nintendo re-release games as a deluxe format for full price. And I know many people didn't play a lot of these Wii U, but people had to decide if it was worth it to them, for the form factor, the convenience, maybe the upgraded performance, if it was worth paying full price for a re-release of these games. So this is not an isolated incident, which is what made me so surprised at how much attention this got online. And I think there's a little bit more nuance to it than just the pricing. So first off, how do the games even play? Is it even worth buying the games? Well, if you've played Mario Galaxy 1 or 2, and you like the games, then you'll like them here. It's the same game. There's often debate on which one of these games is better, but both of them stand at the very top of the totem pole for most people as the best 3D platformers of all time. And we're getting to the point where a lot of people who are older and buying video games grew up with these. So there's a lot of nostalgia at play there. But I've been playing Galaxy 2 on my Switch 2, so I've been able to benefit from the 4K visual upgrade. Now, if you're playing on Switch 1, it'll run at an upgraded 1080p, just like it was in 3D All-Stars. But if you're playing on Switch 2, both of those games will run at a native 4K. I know that's a buzzword. What does that actually mean anything? Well, when I booted this up on my 4K TV in my living room, it actually was really astonishing. I was really surprised how good it looked. This looks like how I remembered it looking when I was a kid, you know? Going back and playing Galaxy 1 or 2 on the Wii, it definitely has shown its age, but seeing them now at 4K, the added spec boost is very much appreciated. I don't want to have to blow up a 480p image on a big TV, you know? But other than that, this is Mario at some of his finest. The level theming is incredible, and the level design is some of the best that we've ever seen from Mario. Taking a step back from being open sandbox and being more linear allowed them to handcraft these stages to be just an experience to platform through. And then all the fun mechanics that the gravity allows them to do. I will admit I do have a special attachment to Mario Galaxy 1. When I was really young, I had a lot of health issues that had me in the hospital. And down the hall at this hospital, they had a game room. And over one summer, I spent a couple weeks there. I would walk down and get to play Mario Galaxy on their Wii that they had. That being said, I'm more of a Mario Odyssey or Mario Sunshine kind of person. The big complaint I've always had about the Galaxy games is the movement. It doesn't matter how well crafted the level design is if it's just not as fun to platform through. And that's one reason why I loved Donkey Kong Bonanza so much. Sorry, I'll take any opportunity to glaze that game. But I'm such a huge fan of Mario's adventures that when 3D All-Stars came out, I took no hesitation to 100% all of the games. And yes, that includes playing through Galaxy twice, once as Mario and once as Luigi, to get the 121st star. And I even grinded for max star bits on both accounts because it just wouldn't be the same if the coconuts didn't change to watermelons. And with them sadly not including Galaxy 2 in this pack, I was wondering if we were ever going to see that, or if Nintendo would just sweep that game under the rug. And so I'm so happy that they really did bring it to the Switch, and the Switch 2 with much better visuals. So yeah, if you liked Mario Galaxy 1 or 2, you're gonna love it on the Switch, and especially on the Switch 2. And being able to play it handheld offers its own incentives to buy the game this way. I also think adding assist mode is a huge benefit. A lot of people will overlook this because the people that grew up with this game aren't really needing assist mode to play it anymore. but I think this is a huge addition to the game. I have a nephew that loves Mario Odyssey and plays through the final boss just about every day, and he used assist mode to help him learn how to play the game. My wife and I are also expecting our first kid in just a little bit here, and having this option for her to start learning how to play these games is going to be amazing. But I know not everyone's in a situation like that. A couple years ago, I wouldn't have even considered assist mode as a selling factor for the game. Now, in all the reviews I've seen, that's usually where people say, but, and then talk about the price point. So let's touch on that a little bit. Mario Galaxy 1 and 2 together sells for $70, but you can buy them individually, each for $40. So if you bought each one of them separately, it would total to $80. It's become very popular and very normal to dunk on Nintendo for their pricing practices. And hey, I'm not even against that. I still haven't bought one of the new Pro controllers. It's $90, dude. I don't want to spend that. And the amiibo prices are ridiculous. I'm a big fan of amiibo. I love collecting them. They're so cool. But $50, $40, even $30, that's too much. $30 was the point where I decided I really wasn't gonna do this anymore. I specifically remember walking into a Target soon after the Switch 2 release and seeing the Champion amiibo. My wife and I picked them up and we're trying to decide which ones we wanted to get and kind of hoping that the other would say, let's just get all of them. And then we saw the price was $30. We didn't buy any of those. The price really does matter. So I'm not just gonna buy anything that Nintendo puts in front of me, but I really did feel like Galaxy 2 was worth the $40 to have portably, to have in 4K, and to do away with some of those motion controls. I do think it was a huge missed opportunity though, to not be able to control the pointer with the mouse controls on the Switch 2, especially in Galaxy 2, where using Yoshi requires a lot more precision with the motion controls. The gyro is good, but it's just not as good as the Wii Remote would be, and definitely not as good as the Joy-Con's mouse could be. I'm still waiting for a good use or a good reason for mouse mode. One of the things I've seen so much online, people talking about, is the texture work for this game. Now, it has been confirmed they did go through and rework a lot of those textures. Blowing up a 480p image to 4K, the textures are gonna need some work. And people have been quick to point out that some of these textures don't look as good as they did in the Wii version. Now, I'm not all the way through Galaxy 2 yet, so I can't speak for the whole game, but from what I've played so far, I think they've been great. I think they've been just fine. I especially like the way some of the textures look with more of the day lighting. Galaxy 2 has a lot more of that than Galaxy 1, and I think it's showing pretty well. But I'm not buying the game to analyze the textures. In the normal day-to-day gameplay that I've been having, it's looked really great. What I've been seeing a lot online is people saying that this is a lazy port job and that they didn't do anything, they just copy-pasted the ROM. Well, if we're looking at 3D All-Stars. But with this version, they did put in a little more effort at least. Another thing I've seen is that the bank toad has been replaced with this functionality. So instead of depositing star bits that gain interest to then reach the max 9,999 star bits, you just hold on to them and collect them. It will mean that you need to grind a little bit more, but if you're looking to get the max star bits, you're gonna be grinding regardless. I will say it is an odd choice to replace that NPC with just the sole function of telling you how to use an amiibo. We've been doing this for like 10 years now, and if you don't know how to do it, I feel like a menu is pretty easy to figure it out. But yeah, to me, honestly, this functionally doesn't seem like that big of a change. When you return back from a level, the star bits you collected during that level just go to your total anyway. Yes, I know you're not going to gain interest on them, but it doesn't seem like that big of a trade-off to me. Still is kind of odd for them to change that though. The temperature around Nintendo and their pricing has only been getting worse, and I think a lot of that is pretty understandable. But I actually think that the Galaxy games are a step in the right direction instead of a step in the wrong direction. Just in the last year, we've seen two pretty egregiously priced games get ports to the Switch in HD. The first one, Luigi's Mansion 2, a 3DS game that sold for $40 initially, had an HD enhanced port remaster. I don't know, I didn't buy the game. It released on Switch at full price, $60. I played the game on the 3DS, and I thought it was fine. It was a pretty good 3DS game, but I didn't feel the need to get it in HD. We also saw Donkey Kong Country Returns go to the Switch in HD. This was a Wii game originally released for $50, now on the Switch at full price for $60. And the quality of that port was definitely questioned, with weird glitches that made the two-player mode almost unplayable at points, not being able to bounce on the same enemy, to weird textures and lighting showing their age being ported in HD. I didn't buy that one either because I didn't think it was worth the price, and I have it on the Wii. So with Galaxy 1 and 2 getting announced for the Switch, I thought they would both be full price individually, and especially with these not just being in HD, but being in 4K on the Switch 2. So seeing that they were $40 each instead, I think that's a step in the right direction. Now, we also have Metroid Prime Remastered, which was $40. There was a lot of love and care that was put into this remaster of the game, and it shows at just about every instance. So to compare what's been done in Galaxy 1 and 2 to Prime Remaster, it's obvious that Prime Remaster is more worth it if you look in terms of effort put into the release. Comparing these games and their prices and their value that they hold is really ultimately going to be decided by you. There's nothing that any game journalist can tell you that will tell you if you should buy the game or not. If you're a bad person for supporting Nintendo and buying this game, or if you just wanted the product. I think the thing that makes this a little more tricky is the re-releases that Nintendo has previously done for both of these games. Now, we saw 3D All-Stars was $60, and with Mario Galaxy being 1/3 of the package, a lot of people valued it as 1/3 of the price for $20 for a 1080p version of the game. On top of that, these games also were part of the Nintendo Selects program, where they sold for $20. But to be fair, they did have the pretty ugly red band. No, but that's a great deal and a great value for those games. And then once again on the Wii U Virtual Console, all of the Wii games were $20. So I do understand some of the frustration for people not wanting to pay twice that price for one of those games. And to me, I think the value in that is the upgrades that they've had. If I were to play this on a Wii U, it would still be the same 480p image stretched out. It's the same game, just being emulated. Using the same Wii Remote and Nunchuck, pointers, motion controls, waggle, all of it. Playing Mario Galaxy 2 on the Wii U is the only other official way to play it using an HDMI cord. But the Wii U eShop is closed, so if you don't already have that, you can't play that. You'd have to pull out the yellow, white, and red wires and hope that your TV still has that connection. And let's be real, who even has a Wii U anymore? So I have this game on the Wii U, and back when 3D All-Stars came out and I 100%ed all of those games, I wanted to 100% Galaxy 2 as well. So I started to play Galaxy 2, and then I realized I really don't like the Nunchuck's control stick anymore. So that and the fuzzy image being blown up on the screen, I ended up not doing another 100% run of that game, and I just put it to the side. So I was thrilled when I saw that Galaxy 2 was getting a 4K release on the Switch 2. But a re-release that I don't see talked about very often in this conversation is Skyward Sword HD. Skyward Sword was a Wii game, originally $50. I think we got that one bundled in with the Wii Remote and the soundtrack as well. I don't remember if it cost any more for that one though. I don't think it did. And then later was on the Virtual Console for the Wii U at $20, just like everything else. Skyward Sword's re-release in HD also gave you the option to not play with all of the motion controls, something that people were not so fond of by the time that released. You also got free control on the camera, which was huge, and the game was running at a solid 60 frames per second. This was the best way to play that game, and this released on the Switch for $60. I think it was worth it for that price. I did buy the game. I did struggle a little bit with the alternate control scheme and ended up going back to the motion controls, but it was a really solid version of that game. Now, Mario Galaxy 1 and 2's re-release, definitely not the same amount of attention given to that game, which I think justifies it having a lower price. To me, I think $40 is a fair price for those games. So what would Nintendo do if they were to re-release any more of these games? I mean, the thought always comes to a Wind Waker HD and Twilight Princess HD re-release, maybe as a double pack for the Switch 1 and the Switch 2. What would the price of those be? I think Nintendo's really found themselves in a tricky and really awkward situation when it comes to how they've been pricing their games, their accessories, everything. And it's pretty hard to be on their side for a lot of these things. But for me personally, I think Mario Galaxy 2 on the Switch 2 was definitely worth the $40 for me. I've been really enjoying my time with the game, and I think it's the best way to experience Mario Galaxy 2. I don't ever plan on buying this re-release of Galaxy 1 because I already have it, but to have one of the greatest 3D platformers of all time, being able to take it on the go at a higher resolution without all of the waggle controls, I think if you're a fan of these games, it's a no-brainer to pick this one up. But those are just my thoughts and opinions on the game. Let me know what you think about Mario Galaxy 1 or 2 on the Nintendo Switch 1 or 2. I really am curious what your guys' thoughts are about the pricing of it. I don't really think there's any right or wrong answer to those, so I'd love to hear what some of your guys' thoughts are about it in the comments. Are you picking up one or both of these games, or are you passing on these entirely? But thank you guys so much for watching. Again, if you like this video, consider giving a like and consider subscribing for more content like this. And I will see you guys next time.